Over 100 million people worldwide have used buy now, pay later services without realizing they were creating invisible debt. I just spent 3 hours in a neuroscience lab watching brain scans of people using these apps, and what I discovered will make you delete every single one from your phone tonight. The scientist looked at me and said something that made my blood run cold. We're watching addiction form in real time, and they have no idea it's happening. Look, I get it. You're not stupid. You know debt is bad. But there's something happening in your brain when you tap that buy now, pay later button that even the smartest people can't resist. And it's not your fault. These companies spent millions studying your brain to make this irresistible. Here's what ancient philosophers knew that Silicon Valley is exploiting. Your brain can't tell the difference between real and delayed consequences. Aristotle called it temporal discounting, and 2,400 years later, tech companies are using it to rewire your relationship with money forever. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, you see something you want, and there it is. That magical buy now, pay later button. 4 easy payments. No interest. What could go wrong? Here's what's actually happening in your brain at that moment. Remember the last time you used Klarna, Afterpay, or Sezzle? Your brain released the same chemicals as if you got that item for free. Not reduced price, free. That's because your primitive brain processes later as never. It's the same reason our ancestors could ignore winter while enjoying summer. Have you ever done this? You're checking out online, the total is $400, and you think, that's too much. But then you see 4 payments of $100, and suddenly it feels affordable. That's not math, that's neuroscience. But here's the terrifying part. Every time you split that payment, you're training your brain that money isn't real. Neuroscientists call this psychological distancing. The further removed the consequence, the less real it feels. Now imagine opening your wallet right now. Picture every dollar bill inside. Now imagine there are invisible holes in your wallet that you can't see. Every BNPL payment creates one of these holes. The money disappears, but you never see it happening. If you could see all the invisible holes that buy now, pay later creates in your wallet, you would think twice before splitting any payment. Ancient Stoics understood this trap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." Your neighbor is now a buy now, pay later algorithm, and it's watching everything you do. The average BNPL user has 7 active payment plans running simultaneously. 7 different future versions of yourself that current you has enslaved to debt. Think about that for a second. You know what's crazy? Even millionaires fall for this. I met someone who makes 7 figures a year, and they had 12 different BNPL payments running because their brain couldn't process the cumulative effect. If someone making millions can't resist this, what chance do the rest of us have? But here's the part that will shock you. Seneca warned about this exact trap 2,000 years ago. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Every payment plan you create is programmed to make you crave more. It's neurologically designed to be addictive. 2,000 years ago, Greek philosophers developed something called negative visualization. They would imagine losing everything they owned to appreciate what they had. Not to be pessimistic, but to break the craving cycle. Here's how you apply this to BNPL. Before you tap that button, imagine explaining to your future self why you enslaved them for something you wanted right now. Try this mental exercise. Imagine you're 3 months from now, sitting at your kitchen table, juggling 7 different payment dates, trying to figure out why your bank account is always empty. You're looking at your past self thinking, why did you do this to me? I met someone who only realized the damage when 12 different payments hit their account in 1 month. They sat there staring at their bank statement, trying to remember what they had even bought. Half the items were already donated or forgotten. The Stoics had a phrase, memento mori, remember death. Not to be morbid, but to remember that time is finite. Every BNPL payment is trading finite future time for instant gratification. But there's something even more powerful than negative visualization. The Japanese have a concept called wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and incompleteness. Your life doesn't need that next purchase to be complete. The feeling you're trying to buy, it's already inside you. Here's a question that changed everything for me. Have you ever bought something with BNPL, got it delivered, and felt empty? Like the excitement lasted maybe an hour, but the payments lasted 4 months. That's because you're not really buying the product. You're buying the feeling of buying, and that feeling fades faster than the payments arrive. Warren Buffett, who's studied every financial trap imaginable, follows one simple rule. If you can't afford it twice, you can't afford it once. BNPL companies hate this rule because it exposes their entire business model. Think about it. If you can't buy something twice right now, what makes you think you'll magically have the money spread across 4 months? Especially when you'll probably make 3 more BNPL purchases in those same 4 months? Here's what nobody tells you about buy now, pay later. It's not changing what you buy, it's changing who you are. Every split payment is a vote for a future version of yourself who handles money impulsively. And here's the scary part. That version of yourself starts showing up in other areas of your life. Behavioral economists have proven something fascinating. People who use BNPL services make 20% more impulse purchases outside of these platforms. The behavior bleeds over. Your brain starts treating all money as not real. It's like putting groceries in your car's trunk and forgetting about them until the end of the month. Except the groceries are rotting and the bill just exploded in your face. Have you ever forgotten about a BNPL payment and gotten a surprise charge? That moment of panic when you realize you have no idea what you even bought. That's your brain on financial autopilot. Ancient Chinese philosophers called this wu wei, action without action. The most powerful force is often the one you don't exert. Sometimes the greatest power is saying no. But BNPL companies know something about human psychology that most people never learn: loss aversion. They make not buying feel like losing out. Limited time offer. Only 3 left in stock. This price won't last. Marcus Aurelius faced the same temptations ruling the Roman Empire. Unlimited access to everything. His solution: very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The richest man in history understood what Silicon Valley hopes you never figure out. The less you need, the more you have. Here's the brutal truth. Every BNPL purchase is a bet against your future self. You're betting that future you will have more money, more discipline, and fewer expenses. When has that bet ever paid off? Here's a number that will change how you see every BNPL offer. The average person using these services spends 40% more annually than someone paying up front. That's not because the items cost more. It's because their brain has been rewired to see money as infinite. Let me put this in perspective. If you normally spend $5,000 a year on non-essential purchases, BNPL will make you spend $7,000. That extra $2,000? That's not going to better products or more happiness. It's going to impulse purchases you wouldn't have made otherwise. Compound interest works in reverse too. Every dollar you spend impulsively today is a dollar that can't compound for your future. Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. BNPL is the 8th curse. Here's the math that will blow your mind. That $200 jacket you split into 4 payments. If you invested that $200 at 10% annual return, it would be worth $1,300 in 20 years. You traded $1,300 in future wealth for a jacket you'll probably donate in 2 years. The ancient Babylonians who invented banking had a rule: pay yourself first. Before taxes, before rent, before anything, save something. BNPL teaches the opposite: pay everyone else first, deal with yourself later. But here's what's beautiful about breaking this cycle. The moment you stop splitting payments, your brain starts seeing money as real again. You'll naturally make better decisions, not because you're trying harder, but because you've removed the psychological distortion. Buddhist monks practice something called mindful consumption. Before acquiring anything, they ask, will this bring me closer to peace or further from it? Every BNPL purchase pulls you further from peace because it creates a financial obligation that follows you into the future like a shadow. Here's how millionaires actually think about purchases. They calculate the opportunity cost. That $200 jacket split into 4 payments. A millionaire sees $200 that could become $2,000 in 10 years through investing. But there's something even more powerful than opportunity cost: identity. Every financial decision is a vote for the type of person you want to become. BNPL votes say, I am someone who prioritizes immediate gratification over future security. The most successful people I know follow what I call the 72-hour rule. Any purchase over $100 requires a 72-hour waiting period. No exceptions. This isn't about the money. It's about training your brain to separate wants from needs. Here's a challenge for you. Try this on your next potential purchase. When you want to buy something over $100, wait 72 hours. I guarantee you'll be shocked by how many things you thought you needed that you completely forget about. And here's an even bigger challenge. Try going 7 days without using any buy now pay later service. Just 7 days. See how it feels to pay for everything up front. I want you to come back and tell me what happened. Tag me if you take the challenge. I'll react to the best stories. Ancient Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to strengthen their character. Modern translation: occasionally deny yourself something you can afford to prove you're in control, not your impulses. The goal isn't to never buy anything. The goal is to buy from a place of power, not compulsion. When you eliminate BNPL, every purchase becomes intentional. I want you to imagine 2 versions of yourself. Version A uses BNPL for everything. Always has payments due, always juggling dates, always feeling slightly anxious about money. Version B pays for everything up front. Calm, intentional, fully in control of their financial destiny. Which version do you want to be? Remember that brain scan I mentioned at the beginning? Here's what the scientists showed me that changed everything. People who stopped using BNPL services showed increased activity in their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for long-term planning and impulse control. Within 90 days, their brains literally rewired themselves for better financial decisions. Your brain is like a muscle. Every time you choose delayed gratification over instant gratification, you're strengthening your financial willpower. Every time you choose BNPL, you're weakening it. The beautiful thing about neuroplasticity is that it works both ways. If you've been using BNPL for years, your brain can still change, but you have to give it the chance. The data shows something incredible. People who delete all BNPL apps from their phones report feeling more in control of their finances within just 2 weeks. Not because their income changed, but because their relationship with money changed. You came here thinking this was about payment plans, but this is really about freedom. Every BNPL account is a chain linking your present self to your future self. The question isn't whether you can afford the payments. The question is, can you afford to stay enslaved to instant gratification? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Not because the future doesn't matter, but because the only power you have is in this moment, the decision you make right now about how you handle money. Your brain on buy now, pay later is your brain on training wheels. It never learns to balance because the safety net is always there. Remove the training wheels and something beautiful happens. You discover you're stronger than you thought. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. The human brain is the same as it was thousands of years ago. The world changed, but your control is still right there inside your head. Don't hand that control over to an app. The richest people in history all learned the same secret. The ability to delay gratification isn't just about money. It's about power, personal power. The power to choose your future instead of letting your impulses choose it for you. So here's my question for you. Which version of yourself are you voting for with your next financial decision? The one who needs instant gratification, or the one who values long-term freedom? Drop a comment and tell me, what's the first BNPL app you're going to delete after watching this? And if this video gave you that aha moment, hit the like button, but pay for it up front, not in installments. Try that 7-day no BNPL challenge I mentioned and tag me with your results. I read every comment and I'll react to the most inspiring transformations. Hit subscribe if you want more wisdom that feeds your millionaire brain. Because here's the truth. Before you can have wealth, you must be wealthy in mind. And wealthy minds don't rent their happiness from payment plan companies. Your future self is waiting for you to make the right choice. Don't keep them enslaved any longer.